Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to share my completed pages for July 2025 with you, and some of these pages aren't technically complete, but I'll talk you through that as we get to them. I have a huge stack of books to get through. This might be a little bit longer, this one, because I do want to talk about a few things with it, and I'll get started. So they're in no particular order, and I'm going to start with Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Leader-Hall-Oberg, and this page was a buddy colour with my friend Jackie on Instagram, and we decided to colour this one for Christmas in July. So I used Langro gel pens, and I wanted to use them quite thickly and really flat and solid. And I forgot how long these pens take to dry when they are used very thickly, and I've got a big smudge here, but I haven't bothered to cover that up just yet. It looks a bit like a swoosh of movement from where he's leaping onto the rocking horse, but eventually I may get around to using acrylic paint to paint the background and hide that, but for the time being this is how I'm leaving it. I've chosen quite a vintage colour palette. I felt like it suited this Scandinavian style of illustration, and I just wanted that sort of nostalgic old-fashioned feel about it. So I've worked quite thickly with the Langro gel pen, and I really like the way that that feels when it's completely dry, and the tiniest bit of gel crayon here down the bottom to suggest the ground. So I will put a copy of Jackie's lovely page in here in a moment so that you can see her work, or you can go to Instagram and check out her page. I will put her details in the description box. So thanks to Jackie for buddy colouring with me in this book, Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Leader-Hall-Oberg. Next I've got Pirates from R.J. Hampson, and this is also a buddy colour. I did this one with Harriet at Wonky Wombats, and I will put Harriet's details in as well. We did this page, the Lookout Bar. It was a bit of a challenge for both of us because it was very detailed, but it reminded both of us of childhood cartoons and comics. So we both enjoyed doing this. It was a little bit challenging to colour all the details, but I'm happy with it. It was water-based and watercolour markers that I've used here. I've used a brand called Anko, which is here in Australia, and some no-name markers. So a little bit of water in places to dilute some of the marker, and then the rest was blended on the page. So that one is Pirates, and I will put a copy of Harriet's version on here as well. So I'm going to show you a few pages now that were experimental pages. So this is Dragon Dreams by R.J. Hampson. This month I actually purchased some oil pastels, various oil pastels and gel crayons, which are pretty new to me. So I've been trying them out on all different types of books to see how they go on the paper. Also different illustration styles to see what I could do with the crayons and the oil pastels with different types of illustration. So this one is Langro gel pens, Shuttle Art gel crayons and gel highlighters. And down here, this is just a little bit of playing. I did some of this on camera, so it is part of a video on the channel. And then I finished it off afterwards with the gel pen. So I was experimenting with different ways of working with the Shuttle Art gel crayons and adding water, or using a water brush, or using a wet wipe to smudge and blend some of the colours. So that really was a test page, but I do like the way that that top part worked out. So I also did a lot of that experimenting in this book here. This book is called The Garden of Earthly Delights by Adriana Picker. This is quite an old book. And in this book I played with stencils as well. I haven't really worked with stencils very much, so I had bought myself some new stencils and played with the gel crayons with those, and also water-soluble oil pastels by Montmartre that I already had in my collection. But I haven't really used them very much because I hadn't come to terms with them and wasn't happy with the results that I got when I initially bought the oil pastels, and they got put away and not used for quite a long time. But once I started using the gel highlighters and gel crayons, it gave me the idea to then get the water-soluble oil pastels back out. And there is a video showing quite a few of these pages that I was really just playing with them. They may not be tutorial sort of level, and I'm certainly not saying that I'm demonstrating how to do it, but I was showing you how to approach playing with new products and when you don't really know what to expect, and just sort of suspend all judgment and just get on with playing with them. So that is what I've used here. A little bit of, I think it was Languo gel pen as well, and a little bit of Crayola crayons, wax crayons. I started to play with all different sorts of things and come up with mixed media combinations. So that was one page. Another one that I did, this was a little bit more resolved. This one is again a water-soluble oil pastels down here, a little bit of oil pastel. I used wax crayons. I've used a little bit of acrylic paint markers. Yeah, true sort of mixed media work again, and playing with those stencils again in the background. So it was pretty much an opportunity just to really try out some colours because they're new products to me. I wanted to try out the colours of the gel crayons, and then I brought in oil pastels of different kinds, and I really enjoyed that one. And then the last one to show you in this book is this page here. And again, it was the stencils using gel crayons, gel highlighters, a little bit of gel pen, the Languo gel pen. And that's it, I think. So you can see there's quite a bit of damage to this page anyway from here where I had used water. So I felt like that was the perfect sort of page to try these experiments on. There was really nothing to be lost by doing it and everything to gain. So that's what I've been doing a lot of this month. If you haven't watched any of the videos, there are a few on the channel that have been purely experiments and playing, and not necessarily colour alongs or finished pages, but if you're interested, you can go check those out. So that's the Garden of Earthly Delights from Adriana Picker. Next on to Mulgani or Mulgani, I'm not sure how to pronounce that word, by Emma Hollingsworth. And I found these books to be really ideal for playing with the different mixed media. The reason being that because the shapes and symbols could be interpreted in many different ways, it was very much a case of playing with the mediums and seeing what the mediums could do for me. And the paper in this book is very good. It's a reasonable weight, and it withstands quite a lot of different things being done to it. So this one, I think, is called Phases. Phases represents hope and courage, the ability to adapt through changing seasons and learning to love oneself. So, that was a really good basis for having an experimental page, I think, to allow myself the space to fail. And I don't think this is a failure. I'm really happy with it. So I've used Neo Colour 2. I've used wax crayons, the Crayola crayons. There are Language gel pens. There is acrylic paint pen, oil pastels, you name it. There's just about everything you can think of on this page. And I really like the way it worked out. And I think actually there was even some acrylic ink washes over here. These lovely jewel tones was acrylic ink. So I'm really very happy with the way that that one turned out and really enjoyable to colour. And this one is called Cleanse. And this one I know is acrylic ink wash for the base. I use gel crayons, water-soluble oil pastel and Language gel pen. So this one has transferred a little bit over here, so I do need to make sure that I put some wax-proof paper in when I'm using different mediums. But again, the colours are very similar because the acrylic ink that I used, it's just a set of 6 colours, so it's very limited in the base colours. And to start with, I was using them as base colours and then I started to mix them. So again, a really nice way to try out new mediums to me. And pages like this I find to be really meditative. I like to really just focus on the mediums and what I'm doing, and I tend to shut everything else out. So that one is Mulganai by Emma Hollingsworth. And next I have Jugan. And I apologise, these books are a little bit difficult to get overseas, but they are perfect books for me to do this style of experimentation in. I really do love using the different mediums in this book, or these books. So this one's called Sacred Land. It is acrylic ink, water-soluble oil pastel and gel pens. So again, these are the sorts of pages too that I tend to leave open on the table, and I keep coming back and looking at them and adding little bits of extra shading and little bits of extra colour as I go. So they do take me a little bit longer to complete because I don't tend to just sit and complete a page in one sitting. And yeah, I quite like that one. Next I've got Water is Life, and this one is a base of Neo Colour 2, which I then used water-soluble oil pastels over, Language gel pens and some crayons, some Crayola wax crayons. So through the month I also had a little bit of a experiment using Crayola crayons and a hairdryer to help soften them and move them and blend them about. So that has been used on a few pages as well. And I thought I'd just show you, you know, sometimes in this book I make little notes for myself here with the colours as well. So the Language gel pens, I put the colour sample and what set they were from over there. And then next we have Sacred Turtle. I'm still working on this one, and this one is actually Prismacolor alcohol markers. I think that's what they're called. They're really old, and so I'm using those as a base, and then I'm going to think about whether I want to put any crayon or oil pastel or Neo Colour 2 over the top of the alcohol marker base. So that one's Sacred Turtle. So you might see that pop up again as a finished page. Next I'll share with you Goddess Colouring. This one is by Anna Jugan. And this book I really do like. I like her style a lot. I like the way she draws women. They're usually very strong looking women. So this page is actually a cover-up of some markers that I used on the previous page here. They were cheaper markers, and the green actually yellowed quite badly onto this page before I realised that that's what I'd used. So I've now remedied that by putting plastic sleeves over to stop that yellowing. But it meant that I had to do a bit of a cover up on this page. So I used alcohol markers and Prismacolor pencils. There's not a lot of pencil, it's all mostly marker, but the yellowing was sort of in over here, so that's why I chose to do a yellow background, and it was on some of these other areas which have been successfully covered up with the new alcohol marker work. So I really quite enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed colouring that rock melon or cantaloupe there for some reason. Yeah, what can I say? It was pretty simple in the end, mostly alcohol marker, but I did really enjoy doing it. And I will just do that again because some of the alcohol markers I used, I'm not sure if they will yellow, so I've put the plastic on. And then I enjoyed that so much that I went on to do this page pretty quickly afterwards as well. And this one is alcohol markers and Prismacolor pencils again. And this one is based with some alcohol markers that I found while I was having a tidy up and a rearrange. And I had a, I'll get them touch on the bag. But when you open up the bag, they were actually branded off. I've had a bit of a sort out, which I'll talk about. They were actually these ones that were in there, Simple Hour alcohol markers. And these are very, very cheap. The lids are not particularly strong. The barrels feel very flimsy and lightweight, and I personally found them quite uncomfortable to colour with, and I think it's because they're square. I've gotten used to using Ohuhu markers and round markers. So anyway, these had been hardly used. I have had them a couple of years, I think, but I'd hardly used them, and they had been put to the back of the cupboard and forgotten about, and when I got them out, a good proportion of them were actually dried out. They weren't working, so I don't know if they came to me that way or they've dried out, you know, through lack of use. But so on her face I started, you know, as I am wont to do, I dove straight in and did some colour on the face and had a very scratchy, weird colours that I was putting on there. So I had to keep going a little bit darker with her face than I wanted to, but I had a look at some reference photos and chose to mimic one that had quite strong lighting, so I think it worked out quite well in the end. She's got a very, very strong jawline and strong face, so I think that the dramatic lighting actually does suit her as well. So while I was working, I sorted through, I worked out which ones had dried out, which ones were no good, and I've actually put in here with them, I've got some Oleap art markers that were sold as a skin tone set as well. So I've condensed those into that one set in there now. And hopefully I will keep picking those up and working with them now and use them before they dry up, because that was really annoying to find them and then find that a good proportion of them didn't work. So this one is called White Buffalo Calf Woman. This book has a write-up of the goddess on the left-hand side. So there are goddesses from all different countries, different parts of the world, different belief systems. And there's a write-up about the goddess on that side. The right-hand side is the picture. So this one hasn't had any water applied to it, but those Simple Hour markers, they've cockled the paper. They've got quite a strange strange ink in them. So while they are, you know, touted as alcohol markers, they do cockle the page and wrinkle the page a bit. So there's not a lot of coloured pencil on there. It is all pretty much alcohol marker. And I've used a little bit of Ohuhu in this buffalo here as well. So I used the skin tone set and then brought in some colours from the Ohuhus that I've got. So I really like the way she turned out. That colour scheme I find really pleasing, so I'm very happy with that one as well. And it was very quick. I think I had it completed in about an hour and a half. So yeah, alcohol markers are good for that. So staying with the same illustrator, this is Anna or Anna Jugan. This is fairly new to me, Astrology Colouring. It's not a new book, but I've only just recently bought it. It was published in 2021. And I've started with one from right at the back here. She's called the Astrologer. And again, I just love the way that Anna portrays women. You know, she's got a really recognisable style. I like the line work from her illustrations. And I've gone to her Instagram page, her website, and looked at the way that she actually colours her own illustrations to give me some ideas, because I just really like what she does. She works with alcohol markers an awful lot. This one, however, is done with Languo gel pens, acrylic markers and coloured pencil. And I think, if I remember rightly, in the background here, I may have actually used a little bit of gel crayon as well. So I've used a water brush. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way that that one worked out. So again, I think I completed this around the same time as the Emily Leaderhall page, and I was really interested in working with the Languo gel pens rather thickly. Instead of diluting all of it, I diluted some of it, but I wanted to keep some of it really thick and heavy, and that really glossy sort of almost textural, chunky sort of look that you get when you work with them very thickly and let them dry completely. They really do have a nice finish to them. And then I think it was Artex pencils that I used just in a few areas. So that is the Astrologer. Next I've got Kirby Roseanne's Dark Fairy Tales. Now this was a buddy colour with Chronic Colourist, and she hasn't got back to me, so I've gone ahead to share this with you because I actually completed it last month. And this is an unusual composition. So this is how the book opens, but this is how the picture goes. There's a couple in this book that are done this way. Makes it very hard to show you. It was difficult to photograph, but a lot of fun to work on. A lot of details. So starting up here with the top section, the whole page is done with acrylic paint markers of varying brands, and I also used a little bit of jelly roll glaze on there for some shiny black areas, and a little bit of gel pen, but the majority of this is just all acrylic paint pen or paint marker. So that's the top section, and then this is the bottom section. So very, very detailed. I found this quite challenging to think about the colour scheme, but I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. You might be able to see some of those glaze pens there, and there's a little bit of metallic pen. But yeah, really, really happy with the way that turned out. And I wanted to share that with you because it's been a while since I actually finished it. So Apologies to my buddy for not waiting. I hope that she is well. She hasn't got back to me, so yeah, I hope everything's okay there. And of course that's the way it looks in the book, you know, the orientation of the book. So I really like that one a lot. This book I find very challenging with the details, and the subject is a little bit different for me, but I am really loving it. So that's Dark Fairy Tales by Kirby Roseanne's. I've only done, did I do 1 or 2 pages in this month? I can't remember, so I apologise if you've already seen this one. I may have done 2. This is Before the Ball. Mr. Fogarty meets the Sun King, Louis the 14th. And I used Languo gel pens for that one. So this book I'm trying to use all different brands of pencils, all different brands of markers, different mediums and so on. It is a bit of a challenge because it's Amazon printed, but because the subject is such fun, it's really nice to play with all these different mediums and see how it looks with such a fun subject. So yeah, that one was all Languo gel pens, and of course I'm colouring this book from cover to cover, well, front to back, and I'm colouring it for the channel. So each page does have a video on the channel. And then this one is Shuttle Art Gel Crayon for the first layer, the base. And then I've used gel highlighter crayons, Artex pencils, Prismacolor pencils, and Stabilo Pen 68 markers on the border. And this one is called A Quick Dip, Pemberley. So anyone that knows the literary reference there, and that is one that was a lot of fun and very easy to colour. It came together so quickly and was very easy. So the next one in this book will be Remember Me, and we're going to Tsarist Russia. So that one is Lost in Time by R.J. Hampson, and as I say, there is a whole series of this book on my channel. So now we're going to have a lot of Camilla Derico. So I find Camilla's work very easy to use as experimental pieces, especially these ones that have a big subject in the middle and lots of open space around. They are perfect for experimenting with. So this particular page was Crayola crayons, and I've got a little bit of colour pencil on there as well. So this one does appear on a video. One of the viewers of the channel, Jill, suggested that I might like to try using a heat source of a hairdryer with wax crayons to see how they would melt and what would happen if I did that. So of course I did, because I like to have a go with things like that. So this one is also using gel crayons in the background. Sorry, didn't write that down, but I think yes it is by looking at it. So doing this section of the wax crayons, the Crayolas, is on a video. And I had worked very heavily and thickly here and got a greasy stain went through to the back of the page. So I did this page as well and did a cover up. So this one's got gel crayons and coloured pencils, and I disguised all the greasy stain here by using the grey, the blues and so on. So that came together very quickly and very easily as well. So the gel crayons worked very nicely. I used a few different techniques with a wet wipe, wetting the crayon, working directly onto the page with the crayon, smearing it with my finger, and then that was all sort of pretty much as a base, and then I used coloured pencil to put details back into the fish and into her face. So really happy with that one. So for what I thought, you know, it was a page that had been ruined, it turned out exceptionally well. So this one is on the channel also. This one is water-soluble oil pastels. Pencil and starry colours, gold. That's by Kuretake. So I used the wet wipes to do a background. Again, it's on the video so that you can see the way that I did the background. And then I chose to use oil pastels and so on in the face as well, in the figure. And then actually I've not written it down here again, but I used some water-based markers. That was the Stettler water-based markers that I did here on the clothes. So, and that's the gold. So I don't know if that will show up. See the shiny stars. So that was a lot of fun, and again, opportunity to use a really bright colour palette and try some of those colours out in the water-soluble oil pastels. This one was water-soluble oil pastels, colour pencil and gel pen. And I think this was on the video too, the same video. I tried to build up some of the pastel to get some texture and some thicker areas, and I'm really happy with the way that that worked out. I have torn her face a little bit here, so I kept working into the wet areas too soon because I was impatient, and I have torn the surface of the paper a little bit here, but you know, that's all part of the learning, so that's okay. And I like the colour scheme that came together for that one. This one was another experiment that I did off camera. This is Anko acrylic ink for the background, and some of the base of the critter here, and gel crayons and Langro gel pens. So this was a cover up as well. This page here I had used water-based markers with water, and the orange had gone through the page. So I thought, okay, well that's perfect. There's, you know, only 6 colours in the Anko acrylic ink, and orange is one of them. So I started to do this page off camera and liked how it was going so much that I decided to finish it, and I'm in fact very happy with this. All this background here, I had a lot of fun with this. This is a lot of gel crayon where I diluted with water, and then I just kept working on top of it and building up the gel crayon, making, you know, something of all that watery bleeding and cauliflower blooms and all that sort of thing. The acrylic ink as a wash is very nice as well. I'm very happy with the way that they work. And yeah, not much else to say about that, but very much experimental and really happy with the way that it turned out. Still playing. This one here is gel crayons with Artex colour pencil. So again, I had done, pardon me, a very light wash of acrylic ink, I think it was first. And then I worked over the top with the gel crayons, and with gel crayons I diluted them with a water brush, and then I came over the top again with coloured pencil, so building up the intensity of the colours and the details, layering it up, having a bit of a play with the colours to see what I could create. And this one, I'm quite proud of how this one turned out. This was really the catalyst for all of the playing in this book, because what I used here I enjoyed so much I did go on to do all of those other pages. So this one is gel crayons with a stencil in the background, and here is a little bit of ink. It's just one of those, let's see if I can get those easily. So these are very budget friendly stamp pads, ink pads that I got from Temu. Really cheap. See if we can get it open. So I used one of these to brush a little bit of colour off of it, and then used a stencil to apply it to the background. So that's what that one is. So I used that, the gel crayons, gel highlighters. Then I went on to using the Crayola crayons with the hairdryer, and working over and over with that to get some saturated colour. And then at the very end I used a little bit of coloured pencil on some of the details. And again, I think there's a little tiny bit of greasy, sort of oily bleed through where I used it very heavily. I just kept going over and over. When the paper was still hot, I was using the wax crayon over and over, and also heating up the wax crayon itself. And again, there's a little bit there, but seeing how that other page worked out, I know that I'm going to be able to cover these up one way or another. And yeah, this page just was the catalyst or the starting point for a lot of those experimental pages that I've just showed you. So this one, I don't know if I said what it is, Beauties and Beasties by Camilla Derico. So lots of Camilla Derico this month. So then Pop Manga Flights of Fancy. This one is actually a buddy colour. So I did a bit of a different buddy colour this month with my friends Harriet at Wonky Wombats and Kate at Quilly Socks. And Harriet came up with a brilliant idea to show us a colour palette, and from that colour palette we then decided what medium we wanted to use and what book we wanted to use. So between the three of us, we all have different Camilla Derico books, and so we decided instead of doing the same picture, we would choose the book and the picture we wanted to do, the medium we wanted to do, but we would use the colour palette. Now, I'm not sure I nailed the colour palette 100%, but I got pretty close, and I'm really happy with that. So it was, I think it was a 5-colour colour palette, and then we could put 2 accent colours with it. So I used gold and silver gel pens as well. And this is all Languo gel pen. Some of it I've diluted with water to do very washy. Other bits I've done very thickly. This is quite raised and chunky. Yeah, so playing around a little bit with blending the colours and so on to make the most of that colour palette. And I've done some textural areas with dots and all sorts. Just having a play with the Languo gel pens. Really happy with those gel pens. They're very versatile. So I will put in Kate and Harriet's pictures, and again, of course, their details will be in the description box if you want to go check their pages out on Instagram. And the last one for Camilla Derico is Pop Manga Mermaids and Other Sea Creatures. And this one, so this page was already done. This month I did this page here. So this one was actually a base of Ecoline brush pens. Again, I'll just grab those and show you what those are. Month quite a bit, and I'll explain why. So that's what the Ecoline brush pens look like, and they are water-based. So got a really nice nib on them. and I used a blue to base all of her hair, a bit of her face, basically just do, you know, a base. And then I used stencil with gel crayon in the background, and then I used Languo gel pen for all of those spots and dots. The details on the sea dragon and the hair is all Languo gel pen. And here is a bit of Languo gel pen that I used diluted. Excuse me. So that was learning a bit more about the Ecoline brush pens. I think it's Ecoline or Ecoline. And then these two were again quite experimental. So you might be able to see what I've done on the bottom of this page. I've actually, because I used different things that were new to me, I've actually done a sample and the name of the product on the bottom of the page there so that I can remember what they were, and you know, further into the future, so that if I lose any of the sticky notes or whatever, I've got it there. So I'm quite happy to do that with some pages. So starting with this page, because this was the first page, I've got Ecoline liquid watercolour, Ecoline brush pens diluted, Pantone markers diluted, gel crayon and the gel Bible highlighters, so they've been diluted as well. I used a Micador oil pastel, very, very old one, and Languo gel pen. So the Languo gel pen's been used diluted and also undiluted. So a real mix of things on that one page again, so very much a mixed media. And I got carried away and did this sort of swirl of water and then realised that she's actually just sort of sleeping. So it doesn't really suit having flowing water around her. But anyway, it was an experiment and I wanted to see how all of these things here played with each other on the one page, and really happy with the way that that came out. But it has cockled the page, of course. Nothing's bled through apart from a little bit down here, which is what I was using here. But again, really happy to do that just to get a handle with new mediums that I'm trying and new brands to me. And then this little lady on this side, she is a combination of Ecoline brush pens as a base, and then on top of that I put oil pastels that I used with solvent, and water-soluble oil pastels that I diluted with water. Plus I also just blended some with my finger and smushed it in that way. This is quite thick here, and I think there's some gel crayon on here as well. I've used solvent, water, and no bleed through to that page. And I think the reason that I used those colours was that there was actually bleed through from this page on here when I got started. So quite happy with how that one turned out. So as a double page spread that's so vibrant and colourful, and it was all experimental, all just playing around, not really knowing what was going to happen. So to finish up, I want to show you a couple of pages that might not be technically complete. This one I'm calling complete for now, but I'm not sure what colours to do on these details on the snake, so I'm going to leave it alone, and I'm just going to keep looking at the page on my desk for a couple of days and see what comes to me. If nothing comes to me, I'll just leave it white. But there is a video on the channel for this one, and the next two pages that I show you will be featured on there too. This was all about the background. So I bought Maiden oil pastels and I wanted to play with them on a background. So I started off, I had the green snake and the blue snake were coloured with Languo gel pens, not diluted with water again, but just used on the page, and then I tried to blend them directly, which worked, you know, in a fashion. So the blue one and the green one were already done, and then I coloured the background on camera and showed you how different the Maiden oil pastels were to the Pentel oil pastels that I've got. And then I actually came back with the Pentel oil pastels and did this snake here, the red one and the yellow one. There is also a little bit of gel pen on those details on the red snake. And then all these little critters and things that are in between that are very small, I did those with Languo gel pens as well. So obviously getting a chunky oil pastel crayon into tiny gaps is very difficult. So what I wanted to share with you with this one is the background. I tried to fix it with workable fixative, which wasn't really very successful. It was still sticky and moving a little bit. But what I found is that some areas that I blended with solvent actually aren't moving too much. Like it blends it and it gives it quite a dry sort of feeling. A little bit's coming off, but it's not real tacky. It's not tacky anymore. It feels quite dry. And I also had a little play with the hairdryer on these very hard Pentel oil pastels. And what that did was the thicker areas kind of melted like the wax crayons do. And when it dries, that's not really moving as much as it was either. A little tiny bit's coming off, but I'm having to rub that quite hard to get that. And so I tried the hairdryer on this area, which was very thick and buttery, very textural, with the Maiden oil pastel in this corner. And where I've done that, it's actually feeling a lot drier and it's rougher to touch. It's no longer that soft, greasy, buttery feeling where I've used the hairdryer on it. So I will seal this completely. I'm going to get some satin glazing liquid to try and seal it all completely. But at this point in time, with a little bit of wax paper in between here, I don't think that's going to transfer too much. It's no longer feeling really sticky and tacky. So I will leave the book open to let it dry a little bit more. Oil pastel never really dries completely from what I've been reading and doing some research. Oil pastel doesn't actually dry thoroughly, and years later, if it's very thick, years later it can still be smudged and moved. So I need to do a little bit more research into the best methods of dealing with that in a book. And when it comes down to it, if that becomes a problem for me, I will just choose to use the oil pastels in 1 or 2 books specifically for that purpose. But I'm really happy with the way that this has turned out. I wasn't quite sure what to expect or how it was going to go. I used washi tape around the edge to mask the edge off so that when I took the oil pastel right up to that washi tape, I've got a nice clean edge and border with it as well. So really very happy with that one. So that one is Anamorphia by Kirby Rosannes. So definitely you need pictures with big generous spaces and areas, open areas for the oil pastels. That is the best way to work with them. So now that I've shown you that, I'm just going to put that in there and move it to the side. So I think this month some of my favourite images have been this particular one here. I very much enjoyed colouring that one. The Languo gel pens have been very, very enjoyable to work with. Really happy with those. This is another favourite for the month. Had a lot of fun with the crayons and the hairdryer. That was a lot of fun. This one technically wasn't this month, it was last month, but I'm really, really proud of the way that one turned out as well. And this one I particularly like as well. So that's another one of my favourites for the month. So let me know what was your favourite, what have you enjoyed seeing. If you've been watching any of the videos, let me know if you have enjoyed it and whether you want to see more. Let me know which medium you would like to see more of. And I'd really appreciate that. And I'd really appreciate it. I don't ask for people to do this, but I'd really appreciate if you do like a video, if you do watch something and you enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up, because that really does give me some good feedback about the sorts of things that people are enjoying watching. So looking at the analytics alone doesn't necessarily tell you what people are liking. But if you watch a video and you've enjoyed it, please do hit that thumbs up. It does help the creator know that they're on the right track and creating things that people are wanting to watch. So if I could just ask you to do that, that would be really appreciated as well. And just a quick note, if you could hear that groaning in the background, I do have Hamish in the room with me again, and he does make the strangest noises, this dog. I've never known a dog who groans and makes such funny noises as he does, but that's what you could hear in the background there. So there you go. It's been a very, very busy, very productive month, and I've really been very happy with all these tests and all these experiments. It's been a lot of fun, and it's really helping me get my mojo back. So thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. I hope that you all have a great August. I have got something a little bit different coming up for August. So I will be using some Royal Talons products. So if you're interested in seeing what I'm going to get up to with them, please keep an eye on the channel, and you will see some different things that I'll be using from Royal Talons. So I'll say goodbye for now. Have a great August, and I will speak to you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye now.